Last year, we purchased the cheapest and fastest Japanese car we could find to compete against Charles, aka the Humble Mechanic, in something new to all of us, a quarter-mile drag race. Advance Auto gave us each a $5,000 budget, and we used our money to purchase a turbo B18 swapped EF Civic. We then spent our remaining budget making the car less of a death trap. Charles, meanwhile, spent his $5,000 on blowing up a Mark V Jetta GLI. We all agreed that he should get a different car just in order to make the race happen, which it did. We squared off against his V8 Audi S4, which you can see here, but spoiler alert, after the end of the races, Ben managed to break the Civic pretty thoroughly. The Civic had wrenched one of its motor mounts out of its mounting position, and Ben went as far as re-tapping the block to get everything drivable again, but to no avail. It kept breaking axles. So when Charles offered to take a crack at fixing it, I didn't hesitate to drop it off with him. And eventually, finally,
we're back.
In action.
Yeah, we are at the drag strip again. We have, well, I say we, Charles and Paul have resurrected the Civic.
I don't want that on my conscience.
Yeah, he doesn't take credit for the work, but he did do it. The Civic is back in action, kind of. And also, you guys never even got to see it in action. The Jetta GLI NITROUS Edition is in action for the very first time.
This was the match that was supposed to happen.
Supposed to happen.
Paul and I made bad choices, but we're a little bit different. Progressive nitrous controller, a much smaller nitrous jet. We've done a fuel upgrade. I cut the muffler off because race car, and the graphics are gonna make us faster.
Yeah, that's like 15 horsepower.
I mean, fast is part of Fast and Furious.
So you guys can't complain. It's not an Audi, it's the car that they got the first time around, and we're just gonna see which one breaks first.
Yeah, is that the determining factor? Like, whoever is driving onto the trailer wins?
If so, I'll just go like 15 miles an hour all the way down the strip.
And it'll still break.
Yeah, well, that's true. All right, well, yeah, enjoy, guys. We're gonna do our best.
The Civic has been resurrected by Charles and Paul's hard work, and the Jetta has an entirely fresh engine in it. The question is, can both cars actually hold together for 3 more passes? When we were here last time, Charles won in his Audi through sheer consistency. The Civic had all the components to be a faster car, but in our 3 races, through misshifts and poor launches, I wasn't able to bring out that potential. The DSG in the Audi meant Charles was doing consistent low 13s each and every pass. However, after we'd finished the racing, I was able to click off one decent run, a 12.7 at 112 miles per hour, the fastest time of the day for either of our cars. Before we race, Charles and I take a stroll down the strip at low speeds just to see if our cars will hold together. The Civic is not quite right.
All right, so we just did like a little test drive, literally a test drive down the track. Hit like 60 miles an hour. Car feels terrible, so I think that my strat is going to be to just try and preserve the axles, and when we go, I'll just baby the launch and then reel them in, because I don't think that Jetta is anywhere as fast as the Audi. We'll see.
Then Charles goes for a pass in his Jetta alone, with no nitrous.
So they just did a test pass, and with no nitrous, the Jetta ran a 13.4 second a quarter mile. So I guess what I'm gonna do is just try as hard as I can. Well, that actually went better than I expected. I just got a bad start. The car bogged really bad. The car pulls in every direction when you're really on it. It's kind of scary. I thought I broke it off the line, but I mean, I can't believe it held up. my God, what? What is that? Am I wrong, or was that not there before? No. What is that?
It came out of the exhaust. It's probably water from the wastegate pipe that was like all rusty.
But if I thought that my first pass had gone poorly, Charles was having an even worse time.
Hey,
Oh, hey.
what's up, guys?
Well,
I saw you might have a problem.
we had to push the car off the starting line.
Yeah. Good pass just now, by the way.
I felt like it was a good launch, a good way down, about 3/4 of the way down. The car definitely felt like it lost power. We're smelling oil, came back.
I saw a pretty big cloud.
Yeah, I looked down and there's a puddle, so we don't know where it's coming from. Could be head gasket, but we got a puddle of oil on top of the transmission.
You built this motor fresh for this car, right?
Yeah, it has a 1/4 mile and a 1/4 mile, maybe 2 miles on it.
Might that have been part of the problem?
That has nothing to do with it. Nothing.
So we didn't run into this last time. The Audi and the Civic both made it through all 3 passes.
Somehow.
But I know you won that one.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly confident I could win the next 2.
I guarantee you could beat this car 2 more times, because I'm not sure they're going to let us back on the track with a
Maybe,
puke and
yeah.
oil.
So what do we do?
Well, did we call it 1-1? Give you the win this time, excuse me. Give you the win, and we race something else?
I might have something for that.
You got something?
Yeah.
What is this?
You ready to go?
What is this?
This is a 2022 GTI.
Paul has brought his brand new 8th gen GTI, the first one I've ever seen. This car is essentially totally stock, so it should be much slower than the Civic or the Jetta. So the natural choice to race against it is this.
Now this is a race that absolutely nobody asked for. We're gonna give it to you.
No one even thought of this race, I don't think, in history.
Probably not.
Paul, I've brought my 93 Mazda RX-7.
I have a 2022 GTI. This is a bone stock car.
This is the first one I've ever seen.
They're pretty new, weeks
Yeah.
old.
Is it broken in at least, unlike the other Jetta?
We hit our engine mileage break-in, so we should be good to go.
Okay, all right, cool. Yeah, this one's definitely well broken in. Just about every part on this car has been replaced at some point, but it's pretty fresh right now.
As
so.
any rotary should.
Yeah, but yeah, all right, we can go ahead and run.
Let's do it.
All right.
What are we waiting for?
I gotta turn off my traction control.
Come on! Paul's taking forever trying to get his dumb new car to work. Hey, Paul! Put it in first!
My RX-7 hasn't been on a dyno while I've owned it, but Dylan, the previous owner, told me it made between 340 and 360 horsepower after he put the turbo on it. I don't doubt that. The issue is going to be getting that power to the ground with the same tires that I've been absolutely annihilating for previous videos.
Too much power for Paul. As soon as I hooked up, even with a worse launch, a worse reaction time, it just drove away from it.
A 13.6 is not bad for my first time taking the car down the drag strip. It's right on par with what professionals were doing in the FD when they first came out in the 1990s, with stock power. And given that I've had very little experience drag racing, there should be plenty of room to improve, right? Well, as it turns out, no. Though my subsequent passes felt more optimized from a driver perspective, the times only got worse. After 4 runs, I called it quits, with heat soak being the main suspicion for the times continuing to get worse, as we were running the cars back to back. I also didn't want to tempt fate with another broken diff on the RX-7.
All right, well, that went about as we expected.
You beat me pretty handily, and we both hoped we were gonna get better times afterwards, and proceeded to not.
Yeah, the first time I went down, I was like, that was a terrible reaction time. I like shifted slowly. Everything's gonna get faster from here. Everything got slower from there. Fastest time was a 13.6. 13.8?
And I think 14.8 was, I think, the best time I put down on this. So
Okay.
I consider this to be abysmal, but a better driver could have done better things.
That's exactly what I'm gonna say. This car should probably do low 13s at least, I would say.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it was fun.
I almost had
It was,
to.
yeah, you did almost have me. Yeah, it was hard to hunt you down. The race everybody wanted to see lasted one pole.
Yes.
And then the race that no one asked for was way slower than even we expected.
Yep.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks, Paul. Good race.
Yes.
With decent tires and pressures and a wheelbarrow full of driver mod, I think this car would have had mid-12s in it, but I certainly wasn't able to get there today. Paul similarly found himself wanting more experience on the drag strip in order to get better times from his GTI. But our main takeaway from all of this as a bunch of drag racing noobs is that it's a lot of fun. As a circuit track driver myself, it's easy to write off drag racing as boring and easy, but when you're doing a race that might only last 12 seconds, every part of that 12 seconds needs to be optimized to perfection, and that feels a lot like Time Attack to me. Another huge thanks to Charles and Paul for getting the Civic back into running condition. Even if they did absolutely sabotage the alignment and try and kill me with it on track, the Civic actually wound up going to Sonny, who operated the track for all of our drag races and taught Charles, Paul, and I basically everything we know about drag racing. Collaborating with Charles on this race series was an absolute blast, and we're gonna do it again. What kind of cars would you like to see us race next time, and in what format? Drag race, circuit track, rallycross? We want to hear your ideas. Thanks for watching, guys.